How's it going, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good day, a good start to your week, and good to have you all with us as always. All right. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Amber. Again, hope you're doing well. Let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna go over the market, and then we'll go over the open plays. We'll go over the calls that I made today, and we'll go over the watch list for tomorrow, so you understand what I'm looking at. First, the market. What do you think? Just looking at the picture, looking at the daily chart of the Qs, what do you see? What do you see setting up there? Right? Doesn't really take much thinking to notice that we have a new pivot that or a new sell setup basically that got formed today. So okay, and that's the definition of a downtrend. We even have a lower high right here. Lower high, lower high. So that's what appears to be going on here. Is we're gonna drop tomorrow. So lower highs and then lower lows, right? That's the definition of a downtrend. Lower highs, pivot highs, lower pivot lows. The definition of an uptrend is the exact opposite, which we had for like a long time. If you look at the Qs daily chart or the SPY, the SPY is even cleaner. If anything, the SPY is a bit cleaner. Look at that. Higher lows and higher highs. See that? So on the way up, and then now we have a downtrend. As much as I've always liked downtrends and bearish markets, at least when it comes to day trading, it seems to be slower a little bit during bearish markets, or just right now it is. It usually is slowest the 2 weeks before earnings season really starts. So it usually does seem slow, but in general also I think during bearish markets the script is flipped. It's become a little bit slow. I did short the Qs at the end of the day. I mentioned it in the other room. You see what I mentioned? This one. It's a 1, 2, 3. So I said, no, I didn't. I said you'd have to go back to that. I have the other room open. So here's can try the Qs. No, hold on. What is it? Oh, there it is. One sec. So here it is. This is what I mentioned today in the room. And I did take a position in the Qs short. This is the other room. So can try the Qs under 360. It really should have been under 359, 82. Not 360, but probably my other platform is 360. Let's take a look. Different platforms on the hourly chart have different numbers, but just on the hourly chart, because every day is 6.5 hours long, so some platforms go from the first 30 minutes is a one bar. Other platforms, the last 30 minutes is 1 bar. So here it is. I called it off this platform, which is, as you can see, 360.13 short, with the stop being over 361.22. I typed 25, but 22. So that's the call that I put out today in the room. The market was impressive initially. That pop, that was kind of impressive, and then slowly but surely started to break down. So I took a position in the Qs, but I put it in the wrong account. So I'm not sure what to say. This is the Qs short at the end of the day, but I put it in my day trading account because I just it happened quickly, and I didn't want to miss it, and so I'm gonna try to hold it in my day trading account rather than my swing trading account. But yeah, the Qs look slower, and at a bare minimum, the 200 MA, I would say, on that red line on the daily chart, which is around 340 on the Qs, 343. That would be kind of my target one on the Qs. Target 2 would be the 20 on the monthly, which if we get down there, there's no recovery. There's no going back anytime soon. That's around right now 300, but by the time prices get down there, it'll be around 320 probably. Okay, So we'll see. We certainly have a pretty strong top as of right now in place, and we'll see how things play out. Okay. Any questions about the market? The Qs is slightly weaker than the SPY. Similar picture, but slightly weaker. Notice the SPY just went below the 20 today on the daily. The Qs well below the 20 already. So the Qs is definitely weaker, but that's, you know, that's understandable because the Qs led on the way up, right? Thanks to Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, the mega cap tech names. And so now they're probably going to get sold a little bit. IWM has been on its own page the whole year, been sideways. And normally, you know, basing after a big move up, that's a big move up, and basing at the top would be considered very, very bullish. Because stocks can correct either through time by going sideways or through price by pulling back. Correcting through time by going sideways is more bullish. But the IWM will probably get pulled down by the Qs and the SPY. Probably. So even though normally if you ask me about this space, irrespective of the Qs, I would say this should be higher. But I think we're going to end up actually coming in on the IWM. Netflix is the $1 million question mark. I have 2 positions in it, and I'm not sure what to do. Check it out. We're going to talk about the open plays. Let's start with with Netflix first. Netflix was called long over here. So on that 1, 2, 3, no, it was on the 1, 2, 3 on the weekly chart, but it's the same as the daily. Right here, but I gave it a stop down to here. So I didn't put the stop right there, put it down here. And then as you can see, it did well, and then just a couple days ago added to it over here, added to the Netflix, and it looks really good long term. Check out the hourly. Dreadful. On the hourly chart is breaking down. This is exactly the type of pattern that I shorted on the Qs a few weeks ago. Remember the Qs? Shorted 1,000 shares. It was exactly the same pattern. It was a rounding top, and the Qs was at all-time high, so it was bullish also. And then that rounding top is what led to the sell-off here. This was it right here, and that's the end result of it so far. So we have the same exact pattern setting up in Netflix. This is hard. This isn't easy about what to do with Netflix. It's a long-term play, so I'm gonna stick with it, but it looks a little scary to me. It looks like it's gonna come in. We can also just eliminate the added shares. The initial play on Netflix was at 564. So over here. I think it was over here. Yeah, it was actually maybe the day before. 564 was the initial entry right here. That's pretty good. Up a lot. Okay. The second entry on it is what I'm a little bit worried about, which was at 619. So this bar is high. No, not this bar is high. This double top. 615. Hold on. And that should be 619. So so right here was the added shares. So that would be kind of the position that I would want to eliminate if I'm going to eliminate anything at all. As of right now, I'm going to hold Netflix, but it is a little bit scary. Okay? Because it's up quite a bit. It's up nicely. Same thing with Netflix, but I mean not Netflix, Tesla. Tesla looks perfect on the daily. But, okay, it looks good, right? But don't forget, the market is everything. Pulls everything down with it. So Netflix is good, right? First entry was at $700, so it's up $90 on the first entry. And then the second entry was at, I believe, at 717. So it was one of those days like maybe here, 717 on this breakout. That should be it. That's 717. So that was the second entry, but check it out. You see that weekly? That's gonna pull back. You just watch and see. Just wait. This is gonna pull back. So probably especially if the market drops. So probably on Netflix we should trail bar by bar on the weekly. As much as I would like to hold it to the all-time high, it probably should be trailed weekly bar by bar, because if the market drops, not even Tesla would be able to hold up against it. Okay, on the first sell setup, shares in, first shares out. It depends. Some brokers allow you to pick, others don't. So like with Schwab, I think I saw when you sell the position, you can pick FIFO or LIFO, last in first out, or first in first out. So you can choose. All right. I take questions at the end of the session if you don't mind, but I'll go ahead and answer those questions. The couple that I got. Yeah, LVS looked pretty good today. Let's take a look at the daily chart of LVS. Looks higher, but 20 MA hasn't flattened out. I like it when the 20 goes flat and then starts to point up. So not gonna do it really. And then WIN, I'll take a look. WIN is similar. If this 20 MA had flattened out, so check it out. If the 20 had gone sideways like so, and then it broke out off the rising 20, then I would do it. That's a standard play. I'm in the WINT. You see what I mean? So while the 20 is declining, I don't like to play the breakout because it fails all the time. But when the 20 goes sideways and then starts to point up, then the breakout has a chance of working, of following through. So that's why I'll let the WIN and the LVS go. All right, and then Apple, a good long at this time. I don't think so on Apple. Look, Apple is good if it can take out. It already, I believe, did today 144.22. It got to 144.81, meaning it did trigger a weekly buy setup. But look, I wouldn't do Apple. I wouldn't do a market stock if the market is, if you don't like the market as it is. So I don't think so on Apple. Do you realize what's going on also with Apple? It's a massive breakout failure. There it is. Let me show you the breakout failure on Apple. There, and then, and then now it's failing. Now, if the market, by some miracle, the market were to go back up, then yeah, Apple would be okay. But I wouldn't do it just yet until we feel a little bit more comfortable about the market. I don't feel comfortable about the market. You can hear it in my voice. You can, I just don't feel comfortable about the market. I wouldn't be short the market if I felt the market was bullish, would I? I wouldn't be short the market. So that's the issue with me. That's the biggest issue. That's the biggest issue. If I thought the market was higher, I would say go ahead, buy setup to pull back to the rising 20, even though it really does have a breakout. But here's the other thing from a fundamental point of view. I only really look at the charts, and I don't care about the fundamentals. But if you think about it, the market has not had a recession. We have not had a recession. We have not had a big sell-off that lasted a long time. In the past, recessions used to last between 1 to 3 years in the past. And then over the last 10 years or so, maybe even almost 14 years or so, they've only lasted 1 to 3 months because the Fed would step in aggressively and basically stop the slide and keep the market from dropping. But what is the Fed gonna do this time around? I mean, they're supposed to be starting to taper, to taper. I know, Mike, but quantitative easing to infinity, right? But they're supposed to start tapering, number one. Number two, they're supposed to be starting to raise interest rates a little bit to counteract inflation. So what are they gonna do? Interest rates are at zero. They've been doing QE forever and ever. I don't know what they're gonna do this time to stop the market from dropping. I wouldn't even know. So that's why I think we might be in, and I don't mean to scare anybody, we might be in for a recession, honestly. And those in the past used to be the best times to trade, to be an active trader. In the past, those were the best times to be a trader. Okay, we'll see about this time around. We'll see. Okay. Uh, all right. Yeah, but this time we have inflation. I mean, inflation is real. I mean, I see it. I think, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be able to do much, to tell you the truth, this time around, unless they wanna risk having permanent inflation, not temporary but permanent. Look at the SPY, right? Look at the SPY. That's the real issue. That's the problem, Diego. I don't think they're gonna be able to do it. So that's the SPY for you. Here's the Qs, pretty extended. And I think, so okay, that's a good point. What about crypto? Because crypto is at all-time high almost. I think crypto will get hit too. But crypto right now looks higher. So, based on the charts, crypto looks higher. So, all right. So we'll see. But it is a little bit of a scary time, not as a trader, but as as an investor, as a kind of a long-term holder of assets and things like that. It would be, this. I don't think it's gonna be pretty in the over the next who knows how long, years to 2 years. All right, let's take a look at the open positions. A couple of them trailed today, but let's take a look at them. So here's the long-term plays. Tesla. We already talked about it. Netflix, we already talked about it. And there's 2 positions. So we're gonna get these off the list so we don't waste time talking about something we already talked about. Okay, CIDM is gonna trail any day. Weekly, under 34 is the trail. 34. So this was entered into at 180 something. So it's pretty good. So CIDM already took half, the back half. LOW is bullish. LOW back to almost break even. This was entered into on this day and it hasn't gone anywhere for a while, almost stopped out and back up. So this looks higher. SOS is a Bitcoin stock, but it looks lower. So this hasn't trailed. I lowered the trail already on it by a couple cents. But it looks lower actually. But this is a Bitcoin stock. We'll see. So this one is holding. CRL, I trailed out of half a couple days ago over here somewhere. This is a climactic short. Look at them. I mean, look at this crazy monthly chart. Unbelievable. Way overextended. So this should come in. In fact, can add back whatever we trailed out. Tomorrow, because this looks like a sell setup plus a 1 2 3. I'm gonna add it to the daily watch list for tomorrow. I may add back INMD. I didn't get it because of my stupidity, because the company did a split that morning that I called it, and I forgot to adjust my order in the system. So instead of under 70, so I was still doing it under like 140 or something, 150 something, and I should have changed the order and I forgot to change it. So I never got this one. It was should have been entered into under this bar. So this is pretty good. Looks lower. And check the monthly out. I mean, this is the kind that you want to be in and go on vacation. Looks like that's the top. Up, 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 up. Biggest bar. That's the blow off top. Biggest volume. That's the top. And again, stupid me. I didn't get it. Okay. There's a couple also that I didn't get, but those were because they were hard to borrow. This wasn't hard to borrow. I just didn't get it. Okay. So in the money. Okay, this one trailed out as a long. I did flip it short, but I desperately wanted to call it for the newsletter because it looked amazing as a short under 39. Gorgeous sell setup, but it's just too thin. I couldn't get myself to call a stock that does 140,000 shares. I mean, the day before on Friday did 140. So I just couldn't get myself to do so. So I put it in under the ideas section as a short. It was in the ideas section, but not one of the official plays. But I did flip it short. So okay, the RELY. This was the RELY. Was entered into long at 38 something, 38.10. So over here long, and so it trailed out at 39 something. So it made a little bit of money, not much. Okay. How do you size your swing trades? Either $1,000 or $2,000 risk per play. So if the newsletter shows 50% risk, that means $1,000 risk for me. If it says $100% risk, it means it's a $2,000 risk. Okay. And then I follow a formula. So share size equals risk amount, which is, I told you, either 1,000 or 2, divided by stop size, which is the difference between the entry price minus the stop price. So that's the formula that I use. All right, path, very, very nice if you held it. This became really sloppy all over the place, but if you followed the management on it, very, very nice today. Gap down, and it looks like it's going zero. I mean, not really, but it just looks really, really lower. All-time low. Very, very nice if you were able to hold on to it. Okay, got very whippy here, but it never stopped. This one I never got because I don't have it available. It looks good, looks great if you have it. I can probably locate it now, maybe, because let me just check to see if it's available. Because when they're not available, they don't stay hard to borrow for forever, you know. They become often they become available a few days later or the very next day. So now it's pending. I'm trying to locate it just to see if it's available to locate, because it looks good. You remember the breakout failure that I pointed out on Apple, right? Well, what do we have here? I mean, we have the mother of all breakout failures. Look at that. Pop, base, and then a breakdown. No, it's hard to borrow still. We were unable to locate whatever. The message disappeared, but it's still hard to borrow for me. So this one I didn't get. IBKR, I just want to go to sleep with this stock. I mean, this is a beauty, but that too will come in if the market crashes. Though it's a financial, so you know, and the financials are at the all-time high because they're defensive. If also interest rates start to go up, financials will do well. So IBKR not touching. Netflix, Tesla, sure, I might tighten the trail. This one I'm gonna let it stop out if need be. My only regret is I started with $1,000 risk, not 2,000 on this. I did add 100 shares at 66. No, it's I don't know the exact entry. I don't know the exact price I added, but it was at 60 something, somewhere here. Basically, the open. I was on the mic, maybe 67.20, something like this. So I added 100 shares extra, but I'm not sized to $2,000 risk, but this looks amazing. I mean, this looks incredible. As I said, also in the back of my mind, I know that there's been a lot of consolidation, mergers and acquisitions in the broker industry. E-Trade got bought by Morgan Stanley, Ameritrade obviously by Schwab. IBKR might be the next one to get bought, and the chart looks incredible. Okay. No, I use TradeStation. To tell you the truth, I like IB for swing trading more than I do TradeStation because they have just about everything available. But their platform is a little slow. It takes me a lot longer to enter orders. So with TradeStation, it's a lot quicker. And so that's why I'm with TradeStation. And then the locates at TradeStation are for free. So I can locate for free. All right. Okay. So let's continue. If you don't mind, as I said earlier, I take questions at the end of the session, towards the end. So can you just wait until, for another like 20 minutes or so, and I can address all your questions. So IBKR long term. This one, I don't know if you guys trailed out of half, but the trail was to 49. To 99. So it trailed half. No, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up. This one trailed half for sure. I'm mixing up the TNET with the LYV. LYV, the trail I said to 49 on the LYV, and that's exactly where it got to. So I don't know. If you trailed, okay, it is what it is on the LYV. But if you still have, I'd give it to under 49. But LYV technically trailed. All right, this was played as a break. 1, 2, 3. Popped, was in the money by a bit. Came back and gave back whatever open profit we had. TNET trailed half. This was played as a breakout. Over here, it was the entry on the TNET. Beautiful chart. It's up a couple bucks more, 3, and trailed out of half. Tomorrow, I think I will trail the back half also to 98, 94. Beautiful chart, but I'm worried because of the market. That's the issue. So TNET, okay. SPIR, hard to borrow. I never was able to get. But if you got it short, should be in the money. The entry on this, let me check. Should have been at 660. 662 is the numbers that I called. But I never got it because I couldn't locate it. It was hard to borrow. Looks lower still. KHC, this was like a, I knew this wasn't very good, but I just thought it's so pretty on the monthly chart that if it ends up working, I would regret it forever. Okay, because it looked so good on the monthly, but yeah, that's not working. The entry for this was at 37.40, 37.36, so it's negative, and the trail is at 36.50 over here, so it doesn't look good. I don't think that's gonna work. And Kirk looks good on the monthly, but the weekly doesn't look that great, but the monthly looks amazing. But Kirk is another one like the Netflix and the Tesla that I don't know, maybe I think I'm gonna trail it to here. Okay, IBKR I won't do that too, but Kirk I think I'm gonna trail it to today's low. I'm not sure today's low or whichever's lower, to 20.99 on the Kirk. Okay, and then RSI trailed. This was played as a breakout, popped for a day or two, came right back down. So this one did not make any money. The RSI, wait a second. RSI, I still have. Oh, I'm sorry, this didn't trail. I still have it. But no, in the newsletter, it's 1837. So no, it didn't trail. My bad. It should trail tomorrow under $20. RSI will raise it to 19.99. Okay, on the RSI, the stop. I'm sorry, the stop was under this pivot right here, and I haven't raised it. I thought I raised it, but we'll raise the stop to 19.99 tomorrow on the RSI. STIC supposed to be a long-term trade. Base breakout on the weekly. Is this a real estate stock? I haven't checked. I can check now, but I would need to open up my TC2000. So looks higher long term, very sloppy, but looks higher long term. Base breakout on the weekly and the monthly. So the symbol is SITC. It is real estate, correct? It's a REIT. So looks higher long term. Not sure. I don't think we can tighten on this. And then SWKS was also, an aggressive one, anticipatory monthly buy setup that I didn't think would work, which is why trailed half yesterday, on Friday, almost break even, and today also the back half almost break even. So this one is out. HLTIH got off to a good start on Friday. Nice pop. I mean, this is $1 something, right? That initial pop, and then it immediately got sold. So this does not look good at all. The trail on this is gonna be under 10.50, under 10.62. Hasn't trailed yet, but it's gonna trail tomorrow. Okay, so those were the open positions coming into the day with. Today I had a few calls and a couple triggered, and they don't look good, unfortunately. The Apples that triggered immediately came in, but 50% risk, but doesn't look good. It wasn't my favorite at all, that's why it was 50% risk, but it doesn't look good. And then GE didn't trigger, which I like long term based on the monthly chart. LKQ was my favorite for today, but didn't trigger either over the base. Still looks good, but with the market looking worse and by the day, you know, I don't think I'll keep this as an order for tomorrow, which means I'll cancel it as a play. And GE, I guess it's still okay if it were to pop, you know, over the base. Has been the call for a while, but hasn't triggered. LKQ also over the base, stop under it. Trip I will keep, but I don't think it's gonna trigger. Monthly buy setup, beautiful monthly buy setup. It just hasn't triggered, and I've had a call on it for how many days in a row now? I'm not sure. UPH, disappointing, because this one looked picture perfect on the hourly chart. The only explanation I have for as to why it didn't follow through, didn't stop, it's only down half an hour. But the only explanation I have, did the Qs just pop? No, the Qs on my other platform, it shows that the Qs, look at this, I just want to show you. It shows that the Qs and all the indices popped. That's because there's bad ticks going off. Look at this, 362 on the Qs, but that's not true. I don't think, because I see the bid and the offer at 358. So I'm like, wow. I thought the Qs popped for a second, but it didn't. Okay, so this one was a secondary offering. This was not a real gap, a secondary offering. And so that's kind of the only explanation I have as to why it's not following through. It didn't follow through to the upside, because it looked picture perfect. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I take in my dreams. I mean, I loved it, but it's not. It doesn't look good. I'm gonna raise the trail tomorrow to today's low, which is $1.68, so just to 167 on the UPH. Water didn't trigger. This was supposed to be a weekly buy setup. It is a weekly buy setup, but didn't trigger, and now it's coming back in, so this will be cancelled for tomorrow. This will be cancelled, and then X went higher. All the metals went higher: aluminum, steel, copper, whatever, you know. All the gold didn't go higher though. And the commodity stocks went higher. This one went higher, so that didn't trigger, and that's it. And I don't have a good short list. I didn't have a good short list. I mean, I did all the scanning that I could do on the weekend, but I just couldn't find very many good shorts. And that's why there was only one play called short, which was X, and it didn't trigger. Okay? So we talked about the open plays. We talked about the calls that I made and why I made them, okay? We talked about the market also. Let us now talk about the plays for tomorrow. Let me show you what I'm seeing and what I like and what I don't like. And then we'll come up with the plays for tomorrow together. I will just do the, you know, complete the newsletter after the close and put in the numbers for you. Entries, stops, and targets, okay? So here's the bullish stuff, but we have to be mindful that the market looks bearish. So I would only do something that's not market related or something that I couldn't stand the thought of passing. Array, or Array, there's another stock with ARRY, and that's the one that I call Array. Array looks good long term. It's not for tomorrow because we already have 3 green bars in a row, but man, does this look good on the monthly chart. It's a monthly buy setup. But again, I'm not going to be playing for tomorrow. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that it looks good on the monthly. The APRE is a daily base breakout. Not sure. I got 4,000 shares of the WINT, which is very, very similar. It looks almost the same as the APRE. So over the base right here, long, and then the stop would be, you could put it under 522 on the APRE, and both are biotech, I think. APRE, well, it says therapeutics, I think, so they're both biotech. So looks okay on the APRE if anybody wants to try. I'm probably gonna pass. Long over today's high or Friday's high, whichever is higher. Today's high, okay, and stop under Thursday's low, which is 512. Target about $8. ACHL, I don't remember what this looks like, and now I see it. It is a breakout on the daily chart. Looks decent, a lot of tails, which means, you know, sloppiness, but looks higher. Just a lot of tailage. Long over the tails, over this bar is high, which is 857. Stop under the last 3 bars here, last 4 bars, 757. Wow, exactly $1, exactly. Target $11. Okay, looks good, looks decent, except for the market and the sloppiness on the with all these tails. But it's probably, you know, I'm probably not going to do anything long tomorrow, to tell you the truth. So ACHL goes on the favorites for tomorrow. A BLDR, builder, I think. So that's is that a building company? BLDR, yeah, building materials. And this one looks higher, all-time high, basing. Now the 20 on the daily is still sideways, starting to point up. So I would rather see it go sideways for a few more days before playing long. This has got a monthly 1, 2, 3. So not a bad chart at all. All-time high, so really strong. Like it a lot, but I don't think I'm ready to do it. If you are, then the entry for this is over that base on the hourly chart. So right here, long, stop right here. So entry would be all-time high, whatever it is, 56. Look at that, the whole number too. So over 56, and the stop should be under 54.45. Again, I wasn't planning on doing it because I'm gonna take it easy on the anything that's long and aggressive, because I'm considering it to be aggressive with the market looking bearish. HGen is an hourly base breakout. Don't love it, but I like the daily starting to hook that moving average, starting to point up. Weekly is actually it's below the 200. It's just an idea, so watch. And then LKQ is the other one that I had to call on today but didn't trigger. Still looks good, to tell you the truth. Okay, not sure whether the call will stay valid for tomorrow or not. Probably won't, probably not, but we'll see. Open is a 1, 2, 3, pretty bullish. Weekly looks good too. You look at the weekly chart, looks higher to like $30. Entry over this bar is high, stop under low. I'm gonna pass. Trip, we've had a call on it for a while. Hourly doesn't look good, but if it pops over 37.50, that will be the entry for Trip. Does not look like it's gonna trigger anytime soon. Doesn't look like it. And then WINT is like the APRE. Okay, so for tomorrow, those are kind of the 3 favorite ideas. Long, short. Here's what I have a lot, but they don't really look that great. I have ALLO as a short, 1, 2, 3. That I will go ahead and call tomorrow because it's just too pretty. Now, keep in mind, please, this is a reminder that I don't like to short a 1, 2, 3 play if the initial bar is abnormally big. If it's twice as big as the average bar, 3 times as big, sure. But if it's really, really big, 5, 10 times, I don't normally like to do the 1, 2, 3, but I love this narrow range bar. So I'm probably gonna do it. ALLO as a short. So this goes on the favorites. Okay. Next on the list. So I got a couple of oil stocks. They don't look that great, but I just want to watch and see. If oil kind of looks toppy, then I have a couple of oil stocks that look decent, like the CPE especially. It's better than the other one, the CEIX. So we got a couple of oil stocks in the CEX, CPE, and I can scan the oil market. I have 1 or 2 more on the list. I don't know where they are, but there's a couple oil stocks to watch tomorrow short. CHGG. This stock was one of the most bullish stocks I've ever seen. up until this year, earlier this year. I mean, it's been so bullish. Amazing, right? And then topped out at the beginning of the year and it's crashing. So right now it has sort of a 1 2 3 pattern, okay, on the daily chart. So short under today's low, stop above today's high, and then target is the flat 200 on the weekly chart, which is about $50, 51 maybe. Okay, so it looks good, looks decent. Let's see if we can find something better. Now when I have a 1 2 3 on the daily chart, 1 2 3 means, you know, you have the igniting bar, the narrow range bar, and then if we break down tomorrow, that would be the third bar, the 1 2 3. So short, stop. So when I have a 1 2 3, I like that doji bar, the inside, the second bar, bar number 2, to be a base on the hourly chart. So if I'm doing a 1 2 3 on the daily, I like the bar, that second bar, to be a base. If we were to look at the hourly here, it's not much of a base. Kind of a base, but you know, not really. So okay, on the CSGG, CLLS is a 1 2 3 also, but the same problem as the ALLO. It what I'm gonna call it, the bar on Friday was just incredible in terms of the size. By the way, I do see the bottoming tail right here, and I see it on the hourly right here, bottoming tail. Do you guys have that bottoming tail? Check out my other platform. Here's the same hourly chart. I mean, if it looked like this, I would do it. Oops, what did I do? Hold on. Okay, if it looked like this, then I would do it. But if it has that bottoming tail, that's gonna make the stop larger, and so I would, you know, have a hard time doing it. But that's how my other platform looks. What do you guys have? Do you have a bottoming tail, or do you not have a bottoming tail? I think I remember it breaking down on Friday. I was in it short, but I missed the exit. You do have a bottoming tail. Okay. Yeah, it broke down at the end of the day on Friday. Alright, this looks okay, but it would have been far better if we didn't have that bottoming tail. Then you would just short under the base, instead of now having to wait for all of this to get to you know, for the stock to trade all the way down to 870 before you get in it. So don't think I'll be doing the CLLS. CPE oil we talked about. Okay. Like 1 2 3, what can be used for breakout? I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. The breakout is you gotta have a base. So a base and then a breakout. But okay. So alright, I'm not sure, but we're not sure exactly what you mean. CRL, we said we might add back the half that was trailed out last week, because it looks good long term. CRL. And the CSPR, wow. Is this Casper? Yeah, Casper, that's the mattress company. Wow. They're definitely hitting the floor. I mean, it looks lower still. Wow. Take a look at that. So target on this would be about 315. Still has about $1. Looks okay. Looks good. It's not a very tight base. The tighter the base, the better it is, because then you have a tight stop, and then you have high reward to risk. And then the cleaner the setup it is, the more certain it is. It means there's certainty behind it. But when it's sloppy, it means there's no follow through, no certainty amongst the traders, the investors that are trading it. But again, if it breaks under the lows, it should follow through. CSPR. Here, I don't know what to say. I mean, I tried this short, I tried this long, didn't work. So I took paper cuts a couple times, short and long, and now it's looking short, looking lower again on the ear. Yeah, so not sure. I'm gonna let it go for now, but look at the hourly chart. They have to open it up to show you. The 200 MA is squishing the price, but that looks lower. See it? That looks lower. Here short, stop up there. But it's not following through. It's refusing to follow through. So that's my issue with it. So I'm gonna pass for now. Oh, still in the air. Okay, good for you. No, I'm not in it. GTHX is a base breakdown, but it's not a pretty base. It's also extended. Notice the breakout failure right here. Broke out and then complete failure. So this one, no. We had the Hexo short for a while and then I got trailed out. I believe this day, but I'm not 100% sure. We had a short from back here. It looks like it's going to zero. That's a cannabis stock. All the cannabis stocks look horrible. So feel free to fall in it. You know, just get back in it one more time. That looks lower, but doesn't have a precise entry. HOFV is a base breakdown with a breakout failure right here. I don't have a good list. So far, the bearish list is not very good. I'd love for it to be good because I'm bearish on the market. Here's the weekly on this. Tell me this doesn't look lower. Look me in the eye and tell me this doesn't look lower. Of course it looks lower. So, but it is a little sloppy. So under 250, 250, it should get down to at least $2, at least. So that's 20%. Stop over 270. So 50-cent target on a 20-cent stop. That's 2.5 hours. So it does have enough reward to risk. I'll put it on the favorites, but it is a sloppy stock, and it's also a little bit thin. It traded 639,000 shares today, so it's a little bit thin. Okay, on the HOFV, INTZ, we had an amazing bearish list last week and we had an amazing number of shorts open, but when the market rallied, as you know, when the market rallied, this is the weekly chart. Last couple, a bunch of the shorts, all the shorts trailed out. The majority of them, not all of them. So yeah, so that's. I wish they didn't trail out. INTZ, this looks also lower. Breakout failure right here. So it looks lower. Doesn't have a great hourly chart, but it just looks lower. Looks and feels lower. Daily. Here's the weekly for you. Again, look at this and tell me that's not lower. Basing at the after a big drop at the absolute low, should be lower. Maybe 290, maybe $3 at a bare minimum. Really, it should get down all the way down to here, and that's 225, 226. Okay, it's extremely thin. 42,000 shares. I just noticed. So there's no way I would call this in the newsletter. Okay, IT, we had short and we took a stop on. Love the monthly chart on the IT, but maybe my stop was a little bit too tight. Took a loss on it. Looks lower, looks good. Monthly, climactic, sell setup. Daily, rolling over. That's the weekly. Wide range green bar met by a wide range red bar. That's bearish. Daily is my favorite. You see the breakout failure. Notice how many breakout failures we're seeing. So many. There it is. And then that's gonna be the breakdown. So I'd like to redo this and then give it to 313. The initial stop was like 311, and I think it stopped out this day. So over 313.50 on the new stop on the IT. JWN for sure looks lower, especially if you look at the larger time frames, like the weekly. I mean, look at that weekly rounding top. So it definitely looks lower, but it's not a tight base. Flat 20 also on the Nordstrom. The mile is lower, going to zero. We had the mile also for a while, or I think we did, and now looks lower. One more time, but it's late. I only came across it this weekend. If I had seen it on Wednesday of last week or so, I would have gotten back in. Looks lower. a little bit late. And then NKTX is a 123. NKTX, I don't think I've ever heard of this stock before. NKTX is a 123, big bar to be sure. I don't like it when the bar, when those bars are a little bit smaller. When the initial bar is a bit smaller, but it is a 123. I'll put it on the favorites for now. I don't think I'll be doing it tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. NSTG 123 also a smaller bar, so more likely to do this one rather than the NKTX. I'll have to see what the target is and see what the reward to risk is. I did a video on what the 1-2-3 pattern is, a bunch of videos, 2-3 videos on YouTube. I don't have the link for them. Hold on just 1 second. So, but it's one of the patterns that I take basically. Let me see if I can look up the video for you. I talked about it also. It looks like you just joined us because I went over it earlier. Basically, you have an igniting breakdown bar, a narrow range bar, and then if we continue lower, then that would be the continuation bar. So, you know, when you have, especially when you have a base breakdown, that's bar number 1, narrow range bar, the resting bar, bar 2, and then the continuation is bar 3. Okay, so that's what the 1-2-3 is. I'm sorry, I don't have the link to the. I did a couple of videos on it, at least 2. So I don't have the link, but that's what it is. That's a 1-2-3. Okay, OSMT is next one here. This was a secondary offering, and since the UPH, which is another secondary offering, is not following through in either direction, I'm gonna pass on the OSMT. It looks lower, not higher, by the way. This one looks lower. OTRK is just grinding lower, looks lower. Let's take a look at the weekly, monthly. Looks lower to like 330. I mean, to the all-time low. Monthly 1-2-3. I don't see an exact entry on it, like an entry pattern, but it's just a grind. So you can just fall in it, so to speak. Fall in and give it, put the stop over 942. But looks lower. Oust 1-2-3. Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it. So this would be a 1-2-3 also as a short. All-time low. Not my favorite, but it's alright. I'll put it on the favorites for now. PRTA. This was my worst trade of 2020 or 2021. It was one of my best and worst trades also. In one day I made $8,000 in one day, which was when it broke out this day. In one day. But I believe it was in one day. Maybe whatever. But I was up 8,000 on it this day, but probably was not in one day. In 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th day. And this was a call in the newsletter, and then ended up trailing out. And where did it, from 15 was the entry 1501. This should be 15. See, 1498. So this was the entry. Ended up trailing somewhere here, and it just kept going up, and it went to 80. And this was the entry here on the transition A on the weekly, month. This is the monthly. Here's the weekly. Amazing. Just amazing. And then the daily was amazing because it gapped over like multiple red bars in a row. Big red bars. Look at that. And gapped over all of this. And then gapped to here. So it gave us a base breakout right here. There it is. In it. But I didn't hold it long enough. That was the mistake that I made. So I don't know how much it ended up making, but if I had 1,000 shares. I only risked $1,000 on it. So, okay, or maybe two, because 15 by 13, that's $2,000. So I only had 1,000 shares in it, but 1,000 shares could have made from 15 to 80. Let's say I held to 60, could have made a lot of money on it. So this was again one of the best and one of the worst. Okay, and now I think it topped out. I think, not that I want to revenge trade it, but I think it topped out. I think it looks lower, starting to roll over on the daily chart. Short right here, stop up there. As it got to, you know, $70-$80, it became a little bit thin. It was a lot more liquid last year when we traded it, or earlier this year rather. And when we took it, and you can see, I think so, but if we go back, oh, maybe not. I thought it was. Well, it was doing about $1 million maybe. And now it's doing a lot less because it lost the momentum, I guess. Yeah, it was more liquid. Look at this. More than $1 million. Now it's a lot less than $1 million, but it looks lower. I'm probably not going to do it. Archon is a base breakdown. Hourly base breakdown. Looks lower. I won't be calling this, but I might get a quarter R risk in it. Like do $500 worth of risk, worth of shares on it. So it would be a short under the SPARS low, which is 240. Stop over 250, 10 cents. So 10 cents, $500 risk. That means 5,000 shares. Ride and Workhorse, both EV stocks, look horrible, but don't have great setups. Looks lower under the beta, stop above it. And then Workhorse I also have on the list. Let me delete a couple of these so you can see the rest of the list. So Ride, lower, but doesn't have a great entry. Rocket 1, 2, 3. Gonna pass on it, but 1, 2, 3. Skill Z 1, 2, 3. Neater, like tighter bar than the RKT, Rocket Mortgage. Hourly also is weaker, under the 20. Rocket is at the 20 or above it. It's not above it. So they look lower. I don't have a great list, but we have a few here to pick from for tomorrow. We do have a few. And then TGA I think is oil. So if you think oil is is topping out, one could try the TGA under today's low, stop above today's high. TCAT looks lower under the base, but it's not ready, but it's a good watch. Here's the weekly. So I don't think that's ready, but it definitely looks lower to me. TLMD, lower, 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 though same as the mile, same as a bunch of the other ones. The OTRK is just grinding without really pausing or giving us an entry, but looks lower. And then TPTX is a tight base breakdown. This was really nice last week. We did it as a climactic buy setup. To tell you the truth, it was the best climactic I have seen in a long time. This was the play called in the other room, the day trading room, and it popped really hard, and then and now it looks lower, but I'm probably not going to do it as a breakdown under the base, stop above it. And then Wish, we had it short. We did 2 plays on it. Here short dropped, and then there short dropped, and trailed it to $5. So here this bar trailed this out. It looks lower one more time if anybody wants to get back in it. Workhorse we talked about, and ZY is like a 1, 2, 3. A lot of items on the bearish watch list for tomorrow, but not a lot that look picture perfect, which is what I like to do. Which is what I like to focus on. So a lot of bearish looking charts, but not a lot of high quality plays. Okay. All right. Questions. Let's see. I see a couple questions. PROG from this morning. Yes. What about it? It popped hard, so I wouldn't know what to do with it. I mean, as a swing, it's gone. It popped really hard. For IRA, if the market will go down, what inverse ETF would I suggest? I mean, some IRA brokers allow you. Some brokers allow you to have leverage when it comes to IRA. E-Trade does. I don't know where your IRA account is, but if so, you can, in terms of inverse, one could do the, what is it? QUID, the QID. That's the inverse of the market. QLD also. But that you'd have to short. So QID, you would just buy. Okay, so that would be what, that's what I would suggest. Blue, I am aware of it, it's tough, but I'll take a look at it in a minute. Okay, and silver, is it SLV? Silver? It doesn't look good. I'm sorry, silver does not look good at all. I mean, I don't care if, in a bearish market, gold and silver is where you want to go. Well, that's not where I would want to go. That's a downtrend. So silver to me does not look good. Gold doesn't look good at all, unfortunately, because I do have some, I've invested in gold several years ago, but not GLD, the actual gold. So but it does not look good. I wish it was otherwise, but it does not look good. No, I use TradeStation for equities. I use pro.coinbase for crypto. For crypto, I use pro.coinbase.com. I don't use TradeStation. Also has crypto, but they're not very liquid and they're spready. So I don't use, even though it's free commission. So I don't bother. All right, let's see. What did you say? The SPY up or down? Down, but the SPY is showing relative strength to the Qs. So I would rather go with the Qs. I'm sorry, am I scrolled up? I may be scrolled up. Hold on. Where am I? I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong room. Am I in the wrong room? I was in the wrong room for a second. Okay, I clicked on the wrong room. All right, let's see. I took blue long. Okay, yeah, I'm aware of the blue trying to transition on the daily chart. Ultimately, I don't think it's gonna work, but I really hope it pops to there for you. Why? Because it's just such a weak stock. Look how weak that is. But maybe for a couple more days, maybe goes up there to 25. So I'm aware of it. I have it in my spreadsheet. Don't love it, but hey, it's off to a good start. And I would trail it bar by bar on the daily chart just so that you don't give back much. That's how I would do it. Okay. Okay, RK, is there a way to identify reasons to avoid getting into the OCGN? Yes, very easy to identify reasons to not get into it. Here you go, okay? Every time it pops, it gets killed. Every time. So that's why I am watching it. It is on my list. I have a spreadsheet with a long list of stocks. So if I were to look OCGN, see, it's in my on my list. I already have it in my spreadsheet. But so I do like it higher maybe or lower under the base, but I can't tell whether it's higher or lower just yet. Because every time I tried to go higher, got hit, got killed, slammed. And then every time it broke down, here it broke down, there, I don't know, here, it went back up. So I cannot tell which way this is gonna go, but I think it's gonna move in a big way once it actually gets going. Because it's been basing, it's been having a, putting in a tight base. So I cannot do it for now, but I am watching it. So what I'm gonna watch for is if it's higher, I hope, sometimes they go and they just keep going. But in this case, I hope that if it goes up a little bit, it bases. I just need it to base so that I know it's not lower anymore. And then play it as a breakout off the rising 20. But sometimes they don't wait for you. You wait for them and they don't wait for you. But that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. A base above the base. Okay, let's see. What time of the day is best to enter into swing trades, and what time of the day is best to make adjustments to your existing open positions? There isn't a time of the day that's best. I just put the orders in the system the night before, and if they trigger, I'm in them. Now, throughout the day, multiple times a day, I just go over the open positions. So I put them in a spreadsheet, no, not in a spreadsheet, in a watch list. And I just go, one by one. I say, okay, does this still look good? Does this still look, is there anything I need to do about it? If the answer is no, then I just keep, I don't mess with the trail. I don't do anything with it. All right. So, but I do put my orders in the system the night before or the morning of. Either the night before or the morning of. And like before the market even opens. This way I don't even have to worry about them. Trigger, you know, they're in the system. If they trigger, they trigger. I'm in them. Can I check out the Got You? Oh, I can check out the Got You. I had it in the newsletter, by the way. I did, but as an idea. It wasn't one of the ones that I picked as an official play. As you can see, it was an hourly based breakout, and the call on it, well, you can go to the newsletter and check for yourself, but the call on it was, hold on, I'm gonna hide this so I can scroll down a little bit. I can't, whatever. The call on it, you see it in the newsletter, today's newsletter. The entry was at 359. So over this bar's high. Stop was, where is it? 324 under the SPARS low. And it's a daily breakout. And sure enough, totally would have worked. But I didn't do it. Now, in terms of, you know, okay, one is in it. Let's just say you're in it. What do we do now? What's next? Okay, target is this gap fill right here, $10. Or you can do target one, the 20 on the weekly, which is around $6 for half. And then target two is the gap fill, which is the low of this bar. So that's $9, $9.50. So that's what I think, you know, that's what I would be shooting for, aiming for with the Got You if I had it, but I don't really have it. Okay. Good job, Sebastian. AJ, since you have a bearish outlook, do you foresee the volatility to come back to the market? Absolutely. Which is why part of me want to just take vacation now, like take a break until we get better, more volatility, better follow through. We will get it, because with bearish markets you always end up getting the panic and the volatility. Okay, but not right now. And the slowest time of every quarter is the 2 weeks preceding the earnings season. Every quarter, that's the slowest time. And earnings season starts this week. I don't mean like, so this week is going to be slow, and next week up until about Wednesday, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday will be slow. So even though officially it starts, I mean, earnings season, you know, there's no official start date for it, but you know, usually when the first Dow component reports, and that's JPM, and it reports on Wednesday, I think. So officially it starts on Wednesday, but it really doesn't get going. You won't feel it that we're in earnings season until middle to end of next week. So this week's gonna be probably slow, and even half of next week is gonna be slow, and then after that it should pick up. Okay. Let's see. I want to understand, what do you mean by saying trading in a vacuum? Please explain what you mean. When did I say trading? Trading in a vacuum means, you know, you're looking at just one thing, and you're not looking at multiple time frames. You're not considering other variables. Basically, it's like trading, trading Apple, buying Apple here on the weekly buy setup when the market is turning bearish. That's trading in a vacuum. You're not actually looking at other variables that are important. So that's what it means to trade in a vacuum. It never works. Okay? You have to, and this is one of the hardest thing about trading, is that you can't trade in a vacuum, unfortunately. You have to coordinate. You have to look at multiple things and make sure they all look good. Right? They're all saying higher, or they're all saying lower. And if one of them says lower and you're playing long, that you really have a reason for doing so, for ignoring that the market or whatever it is, right? Okay. Do you enter swings after the close or before the close? No, after the close. So like right now, what I'm gonna do is these here go into my this is a Google sheet, and T3 takes a picture of it and sends it to you in the newsletter. So right now, what I'll do is these ones that I identified as the favorite ideas, I'll plug them into the sheet. Into the sheet right here. Okay. And then once I do that, I'll put in the entry, the stop, the target, target 1, target 2. Sometimes targets 1 and 2 are the same. And then and I'll see what reward to risk they have. If they have decent reward to risk and I like them, then I'll end up calling them. If I don't love them, then I drop them as part of the ideas at the bottom. So that's basically what I do. Okay, so I'll be working on. So once I'm done, okay, this is where I was going with this. Once I'm done, then I start entering orders in the system. If it's a short play and it's hard to borrow at TradeStation, I can only, the locate window works until 5 o'clock East Coast time. So I would have to locate it in the morning. So some of the plays, sometimes I have to enter in the morning before the market opens, and some of them I can do after the market closes, which is my preference because, in the morning where I'm rushing and I got a million things to do to prepare for the open. So I prefer to enter the orders in the system the night before. Let's see. What earnings plays do we have this week? We will not have any earnings plays this week. Earnings season last season was amazing, by the way, knock on wood. And if earnings season is half as good this quarter, it will be amazing. I mean, that would be great. So I'm looking forward to this earnings season, but it won't start until, as I said, probably Wednesday or Thursday of next week. Let's see. Mike 429. What's 429, Mike? Did you type a comment in and I didn't see it? By the way, if you typed a question in and I skipped over it, not intentional, I assure you. Just please copy and paste it. Okay, team, you like lower. I see it. I see it. If market cooperates, okay, yeah, let's take a look at it. I did see the team on the weekend. It did look like it's starting to break down, but it's the most bullish stock in the country. So, and notice the size of the stop. You're gonna have to, the entry for this would be under 371.80. Stop is 420. I don't think it's a good idea, but I did come across it when I scanned this weekend. We played this swing and then trailed out right here, I think. We played it swing over here. We played it as an earnings play. This was an earnings gap. This was nice. At the beginning of last quarter. This was one of the first few. And then we played it long as a swing and trailed out here, and then it went way up. But now it's starting to weaken, but I just don't think it's ready enough. You want the 20 to flatten out and start to point down on the daily chart. And then, okay, it's like this one. So I like this one more. But in the case of the team, it's also not a tight base. So the entry would be under 375.50, stop over 402. I was looking at the weekly earlier, and then you have support right here. So I really don't like it, Mike. I really don't like it. Okay. What are the months of the year that start the earnings season trading? Okay, Marty, it's mid-January. Here's the earnings season, mid-January. Here's the months basically through mid-February, mid-April through really end of May, but mid-May, but it starts to slow down. But really, I shouldn't have said mid-February. I'd say end of May, and then mid-July through end of August, and then mid-October through end of November. The slowest months are the month preceding earnings season. So it would be December, March, June, and September. And of these, September is the slowest usually of these four. So we just kind of gotten out of September, which is the slowest time of the year. I actually did pretty well for September, like 75K or something like this. Not trying to brag, but it was good. It was fine. But we'll see what October brings. Okay. Let's see. Those that are hard to borrow, can you just buy put options? I guess. I think you could. I don't trade options, so I don't know for sure, but I think you could. On IBKR, 200 MA is above the 20. Just wondering if you still go swing day trade long near the 20. On IBKR, 200 is above the 20. After a deep pullback, it's gonna be. But okay, because it had a deep pullback. So yeah, I will go long. Look, the 20 and the 200 they're just lines on the charts. Okay, now I do pay attention to them because when they halt the stock, as it did here, I want to be getting ready to get in it long. And so that was the entry right here on it. But yeah, it's not. I still will take a trade if the pattern is really good. Which on this one, I mean, how can we say this isn't good? Look at that pullback inside of an igniting move with a shakeout bar. This is a shakeout because it made new lows and then went right back up, and so it's a monthly buy setup basically. So okay, but good point about the moving averages not looking ideal. What's your strategy for day trades? And if they look good, do you hold them for a swing? I don't usually hold for swing. In terms of strategies for day trading, I have a gap strategy for trading the open, a relative strength, relative weakness strategy, basically focusing on things that are showing relative weakness or relative strength to the market. Relative strength I would want to buy, and relative weakness I would want to short. And then the third strategy is climactics, when a stock goes climactic. You actually got a little bit climactic today, so that would be a reversal strategy. So 2 continuation strategies and 1 reversal strategy. Those are the 3 main strategies that I do. Do you make more profits swing or day trading? What would you suggest for a beginner trader? It depends. Some years I certainly do better day trading. Other years I certainly do better swing trading. So it truly depends. But you do whatever fits your style and personality. Like 2019, I certainly did better swing trading. 2020 and so far 2021, I certainly have done better day trading. Okay, so I'll show you. So it depends. Some years it depends on, it depends on the market. It depends on what the market basically is making available to us. Sometimes, like 2019, the earnings plays were amazing. We're on fire. In 2019, and day trading was slow. Here's my P&L so far. I've been just under $1 million for like 2 weeks. This is the day trading. Okay. So, am I up $1 million in my swing account? No, not really, and nowhere near, to tell you the truth. But that's this year. So, okay. All right. Let's see. I don't exactly know. It's like 180, because I have some some accounts I did the earnings plays in separate from the rest of the swings. So I've done a little bit of swings. I've done a little bit of swings in IBKR and with IB. I've done a little bit of swings with Schwab, and then I went back to TradeStation. So I have 3 different accounts. I don't know exactly how much, but yeah, it's nowhere near $1 million like I have at E-Trade. Nowhere near. Okay. I use E-Trade mostly and TradeStation. Yes, that's it. Okay. All right. What else? Any other questions? Would you like to know my social security number? If you want, just take out a pen and paper and I'll just give it to you. Let's see. Let's see. Transition A is where some of your best plays. I think maybe it's time for transition C. Okay, so transition A plays they work out best when the market, after a pullback in the market. So after a deep pullback in the market, the best plays to do are usually the transition A plays, like this one. When you have basically a stock that's in a downtrend, finally ends the downtrend and starts to break out. So those usually you get a lot of these if the market has a big drop and starts to bottom and starts to move back up. So we are getting the drop part of the cycle, right? Where we are dropping right now, but we haven't bottomed out yet. Okay, so I don't think we're there yet. And once we bottom out in the market, then you'll start to see a lot of these transition A plays. I checked the Solana this weekend. It didn't look good, but I know the crypto's popped today, so maybe Solana popped. I'll check it out right now. Okay, yeah, you want my address? Yeah, sure. I'll take a look at it. SOLUSD, because I looked at it on the weekend. I scanned the cryptos. Yeah, it doesn't look good. So if you look at it right here, this is Solana. Does that, I mean, I'm not saying it looks horrible, but does that look ready to go, to break out, or to, it doesn't. Bitcoin is popping, this thing is dropping. So it does not look good at the moment. Solana. So it's not ready. But if it goes back up and then pops over the double top, okay, pops over here, then that would be good, I think. But not right now on Solana. I got $10,000 worth of SHIB, but of course I wasn't aware of it, so it's not like I caught it right here. To tell you the truth, my brother's friend sent him his P&L. He only invested $15,000. He was up $70,000 in profit at the top. It went up like 3 million% or something. So he was up. He invested, I believe, 14K, 14 or 15. I still have the text message with the P&L picture. But when he tried to get out at the top, because he did try to get out, he couldn't log on to the app. It glitched. That's my issue with Coinbase. It goes down when volatility goes up. So you can't get out when you want to. So he didn't exit basically, and it came in really hard. But I did get back. I did get in it this morning, at about $10,000 worth of shares, basically. So we'll see. It looks higher, but with the market coming in and turning bearish, I think crypto's gonna come in. So that's my issue with it. But here it is. I got 333 million shares. I mean, it's 0.00029. So 332 million shares. Crazy number. But it's only like $10,000 worth of. Okay. Any ETFs? Yeah, we have a couple of ETFs for Ether, ETHE for Ether. For Bitcoin, just GBTC. It's not an ETF really. It's a fund that has all its assets in Bitcoin. And for Litecoin, LTCN, and those are the three, I think. I don't know if we have any more, but those are the three. Any thoughts on these cheap coins like Shiba? Like I said, I'm in it. I like it higher. And then I scanned, and there's a bunch that I like, but I don't know where I saved that file, so I'd have to look it up. Maybe I'll look for it tonight, and then I'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay, so because I did scan the cryptocurrency universe, and I have a few that I kind of like. So how do you buy? Does it seem like straightforward? Yeah, it's straightforward. You got just an order entry window right here. Let me just show you. Hold on one sec, please. So this is the order entry window. Buy, sell, and then market, limit, or stop. That's it. And then you fill out the prices. So stop. Let's say you want to get in at, in this case, because it's hard because it's 0.00002959. So it's so many digits. But like if we were talking about Bitcoin, you'd say let's say you want to buy it if it crosses over 58,000. You type 58 and 01 and 1 cent. That's not that's here's Bitcoin. You just go Bitcoin, BTC. So you select market and Bitcoin, and then you go how many Bitcoins? Let's say 1, and then you say what's the limit price, what's the worst price you're willing to accept. $58,100, right? And then you hit buy, submit buy at the bottom. You have to like go like so to show you, and you just hit buy, and that's it. So it's a pretty easy self-explanatory order entry window. Okay. Shirley, how are you? I've been watching SHIB. Where's your stop? Under the hourly base, but so I don't remember exactly where I put it. I can show you where I put it. Oh, I thought I had it. I don't have the stop in the system, but I'll show you where my stop is. It's not in the system. Okay, I'll show you where my stop is. It's under the 4-hour base. So here it is. No, that's the 15 minutes. Sorry, 4-hour base. Let me. It came in actually. It came in like. I'm not in love with it because of the market turning bearish. So this is my stop. It's under 25. 20. There's two places. Either right here, like under this red bar, which is under 26.16, or if you want to give it a little bit more room, then it would be under 24.15. Okay, so that's where the correct stop should go. Either right here, if you want to be a little tight, so under 25.40, it looks like. Yeah, 25.40. So here, just type it in for you. So 25.40 or 20. This one, 24.15. Okay. Of course, 0.00002414. Boom. Those are the two places to place the stop. Okay. All right. How did you pick SHIBs over 3,000 other coins? It's just the pattern on it. I like that breakout on the hourly chart. It's just the pattern basically. But I didn't scan 3,000 cryptos. I only scan, when I say my crypto universe, I only scan the cryptos that are available at Coinbase. So there's like 70 of them, or some, maybe more, basically. I do have an account with Kraken, and I have an account with which has hundreds, 800 or something, Bittrex, but I don't even have it. Bittrex, I haven't traded there in 2 years probably. So this one, they have like this exchange, they have like over, maybe at the time 2 years ago they had over 800, probably now over 1,000. But I just, I'm not trying to kill myself here. I'm just trying to, so I decided not to trade that account and just to focus on Pro Coinbase or Kraken when I go short. So this exchange allows you to go short. Kraken.com. All right. I gotta get off the mic. But I'll take the last couple questions here that we have typed in. As the market is turning bearish, how long do you think we will be downtrending? That's your guess is as good as mine. I think if we enter into a recession, it will not be short-lived like the last few ones were. The last few times the market dropped, the Federal Reserve stepped in right away, and it ended the downtrend in 1 to 3 months. In almost every instance, ended the downtrend in like 1 to 3 months. But I think this time around it's going to be prolonged. So it could be 1 to 3 years, which is a scary thought. AJ, does the same patterns and setups you use for day trading apply to crypto as well? Absolutely. You're reading the chart. You're reading what other people are doing. When you're reading the chart, that's what you're reading. You're looking at what other people are doing. Sammy, aren't you a trader of T3, right? I have a T3 account too. But my main account, because it's commission free, is E-Trade, and then whatever, and TradeStation. Okay. All right. What are some of your favorite crypto? I don't know right now, because I did scan and there were a few that I liked, but I'm gonna have to. I don't know where I saved the file. I'd have to look for it. Maybe we can, like, let's take a look real quick. I just want to see. if these look any good. So I like to look at the daily chart. ADA, USD, let me just take a look. Okay, this one is no good unless it goes back up over this bar's high, the ADA. And Link, USD. Okay, they're failing. The altcoins are failing. They're failing. Can you believe it? Those are some of the few that I have written down, but there's more. The altcoins are not doing too well. The altcoins are not doing too well. I'll go USD. They're failing. They're all failing because all the money is going into Bitcoin. That's why. And Shiba, or however way you say the name. But those were some of the ones that I liked. Yeah, they're all failing, every single one of them. So I don't really have any favorite coins at the moment. They're all failing. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. How do you use the Swing Trader newsletter? How do I use it? I take the plays that I call. So I'm not sure what you mean, but how do you use it? You can just, I give you the entry, the stop, and the target. And then once the play triggers, then I give you the management for it. So it's pretty easy as it gets, as it can possibly be. And then I give you the management for it. Where I'm placing my stop, basically. Okay. And then at the bottom, there's additional ideas for you to consider. But then during earnings season, we'll start next week. I send out the earnings calls. So list of companies that I'm getting in before they report earnings. So that happens every quarter, every earnings season, and that should start. So unfortunately, if you're part of the open house, you're gonna miss out on that unless you subscribe, obviously. But that will be starting probably the end of next week. All right. Do I like E-Trade better than IB for trade execution? I think so, yeah. And I think so, yes. IB was really not built for day trading. XL or any EV stocks? Okay, I'll take a look for ya. It looks like a disaster. XL. If you're looking to short it, then I would say yes. That's how bad it is. It looks horrible. Absolutely. Let's take a look at NEO. Because the Chinese stocks, it doesn't look good. Chinese stocks, XPEV, popped a little bit today, as you know. They don't even look good. But most of the EV stocks look horrible, with the exception of Tesla. What's the best dinner for traders? Norbo is joking because yes. Right. What's the best dinner for traders? That's a good one. All right, guys. Nice talking to you all. I will see you tomorrow morning. Thank you so much and have a nice evening. Hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you. Thanks, Shirley. Take care, everybody. Good night.